How does Alex Eala deal with negativity? Manila, Philippines. The good simply outweighs the bad for Alex Eala. Instead of dwelling on negativity fostered by her critics, the Filipina tennis star said she opts to stick to the positives as she continues to receive fervent support from Filipinos following her meteoric rise to world number 56. I don't really pay attention to a lot of negative comments, as you would say. I think one thing, that mentality that I have, is there's so much positive that I get from the Pinoys, so why would I focus on the negative? Said Eala on Friday, July 18th, during a meet and greet event hosted by Globe at its office in Bonifacio Global City, Taguig. Usually these people don't know a lot about tennis, and a lot of people don't know what goes on behind the scenes. I'm very confident in myself, in my team, and in my work. Eala has gained legions of new fans after accomplishing a historic feat, one after the other for the first half of the year. She cracked the top 100 for the first time, following her semifinal appearance in the Miami Open in March, reached her first WTA final in the Eastbourne Open in June, then became the first Filipino in the Open era to see action in the Wimbledon main draw earlier this July. But Eala also has her fair share of doubters, many of whom question her ability to win, especially as her last two matches saw her blow leads. Eala nearly captured the Eastbourne Open crown only to fritter away 4 championship points, allowing Australia's Maya Joint to escape with a nail-biting 6-4, 1-6, 7-6, 10 win. In Wimbledon, Eala won the opening set against 2024 champion Barbara Krejcikova, but the veteran Czech banked on her experience to pull off a 3-6, 6-2, 6-1 victory. Eala, though, has learned to roll with the punches. I know that we're doing things right, and I'm doing the best I can. That confidence allows me not to get affected by certain comments. I'm just so grateful for all the love and support. I feel like it's a mistake to forget that, she said. Always focus on the positive is my mindset. Back in the Philippines for a short break, Eala will plunge back to action soon as she gears up for the U.S. Open, the 4th and last Grand Slam tournament of the year, in August. She will feature in the U.S. Open main draw for the first time by virtue of her career-high number 56 ranking. When Alex Eala steps onto the tennis court, the world often sees the powerful forehand, the fierce backhand, the steely gaze of determination behind her visor. But beyond the flashing cameras, roaring fans, and dazzling victories lies a story far more profound. A young woman gracefully navigating the weight of expectations and the sting of negativity. Born in the Philippines and bred for greatness, Eala's rise in the global tennis world has been meteoric. A former junior Grand Slam champion, she has carried not only the dreams of her family, but the hopes of a nation. Yet, with every serve and every swing, the shadows of criticism, online hate, and personal doubts lurk in the corners. So, how does she deal with negativity? The answer lies in the way she lives, trains, and grows, not just as an athlete, but as a person. Chapter 1. The storms behind the spotlight. It's easy to assume that success shields athletes from pain. But when Eala won her first junior Grand Slam title, the celebration online wasn't all rosy. Some praised her, but others questioned her technique, doubted her longevity, even threw shade at her heritage, her body, or her voice. I was shocked at first, Alex shared in an interview. You give your all, and still people try to pick you apart. It used to hurt badly. She was just a teenager, scrolling through Instagram after a win, only to read comments that questioned whether she was good enough or deserved the spotlight. Some told her she was overhyped. Others took aim at her physical appearance, something that has zero to do with her skill. But instead of lashing back, Alex chose a different route. She listened, learned, and eventually let go. Chapter 2. The power of her inner circle. One of the most powerful weapons Alex Eala possesses isn't her racket, it's her circle. Her family, especially her mother Riza, a former national swimmer, her father Mike, and her brother Miko, a tennis player himself, have played pivotal roles in anchoring her emotionally. They remind me that criticism often comes from people who don't understand the journey. Alex says, they ground me. They remind me why I play in the first place. She credits long, late-night calls with her mom, walks with her dad, and sibling banter with Miko as therapy. When things get too loud online, She turns inward, to the people who truly know her heart. Her coaches at the Rafa Nadal Academy also act as emotional guides. They've helped her separate performance from self-worth. A bad match doesn't mean I'm a bad player. A harsh comment doesn't mean I'm weak. She repeats like a mantra. Chapter 3. Tuning out the noise. One of the first skills Eala learned as a young pro wasn't about footwork or net play. It was digital discipline. I stopped reading the comments, she said during a press conference after a tough loss. I post, I engage with my fans, but I don't scroll like I used to. She realized that scrolling became a mental minefield. The more she read, the more doubts crept in. So, she created a system, limited screen time, no reading DMs from strangers, and curated comment filters. More importantly, she learned the art of selective listening. She accepts constructive criticism from her coaches and teammates, but tunes out hate and noise from strangers. This balance helps her stay open to growth while protecting her peace. Chapter 4. Turning negativity into fuel. There's something almost alchemical about how Eala transforms criticism into motivation. When a foreign commentator once labeled her not aggressive enough to make it far in the pros, Alex didn't clap back. Instead, she rewrote her training plan. I added more power drills. I started focusing on turning defense into offense. I used that comment not as truth, but as challenge. In another instance, after losing in the early rounds of a tournament and receiving a barrage of online negativity, she used the time off to study her matches, frame by frame. She spent hours working on her returns and visualizing future wins. Criticism to her is like wind. It can knock you down, or it can push your sails forward, depending on how you harness it. Chapter 5. Owning her narrative. Perhaps the most inspiring thing about Alex Eala is her choice to own her story. She doesn't deny the pain negativity can bring. She doesn't pretend it doesn't hurt, but she also refuses to let it define her. In interviews, she's open about mental health. She talks about crying after losses, missing home, feeling the weight of being a flag bearer for the Philippines. But she never lets vulnerability turn into victimhood. Instead, she reframes. Pressure is a privilege, she says, echoing Billie Jean King. It means people believe in me, and I believe in myself. She often journals after matches, writing not only what she did right or wrong, but how she felt. These reflections have helped her spot patterns in how negativity affects her and how she rebounds. Chapter 6. The role of identity and pride. For Alex, pride in her Filipino roots is not just personal, it's armor. Every time someone doubts her, she